This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the new moon in Virgo, happening on August the 27th at 6:17 p.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. Let's talk about mind expansion, Capricorn. Let's talk about journeying, and let's talk about travel, whatever that means to you. Let's talk about philosophy and potentially astrology. Maybe that's a newfound interest of yours. If it is, then there is processes that you need to feel grounded in. If we're going to go there, if we're going to go here and here and here, you need a sense of rootedness. You need your feet in the ground, and you need to read the books and to learn and to use your brain to understand and to conceptualize it. And that's great. That's perfect for you. Virgo rules your 9th house, which includes all of those things that we've just talked about. So at a new moon, as you know, this is the time to ask for what it is that you wish might happen. So if you're wanting to take a trip, if you're wanting to learn about something that's been on your mind for some time and you're just figuring out just the right ways to go about it or what avenues to take or this, that, the other, then this new moon would be the perfect time to use the energy of Mother Earth and use the darkness to make your wishes. There's going to be some movement. I feel it. Virgo in... The archetype of Virgo is interesting, isn't it? Because it sort of represents, it's represented by the virgin, the maiden, the holy one. I think that we can probably sit in our little witchy boots and remember and realize and move from that kind of language. I think that might be a bit antiquated now, isn't it? Virginity is a concept, a construct that was implemented to suppress us and to divide us and to assess us in some ways. And that's something that's language that we don't really that seems a bit ancient. Another language that is ancient but is maybe something that you can gel with a little more is the language of the tarot. So when you think of Virgo, think of the Hermit. The Hermit card is number 9 in the major secrets, and the Hermit is the person that has drawn away from social life and has gone to live in the forest for a time and to glean the lessons from what is around them, from the earth and from nature and from the universe, from the stars. And they've put everything together and alchemized it into a space, into a salve to perhaps heal others that are going through a similar experience of existentialism or of wishing to know what else is there, what's beyond the veil, what's next. If that's how you're feeling, Capricorn, you can relax into the idea that your 9th house, which includes all of these things, is ruled by Virgo. So there's that groundedness. There is that practicality, that diligence, that attention to detail, and that perfectionism in some ways. So I wonder what it is that you're cooking up. I wonder what it is that you'd like to learn or where you'd like to go next in terms of philosophy or in terms of your philosophies. What are you updating? What are you reviewing as perhaps philosophies from the past that maybe don't gel with you anymore, and we let go of them 6 months ago at the full moon in Virgo, and so now's the time to actively participate and actively ask for what it is that you'd like to receive. There's another square in the sky with this new moon, so the sun and the moon are at 4 degrees in Virgo, and at 4 degrees in Gemini we find Mars. So that's a really direct square. That's a direct point of tension. Remember that angle always is like a kind of like a feeling of frustration, or it's sort of like there's conflicting, competing energies activating, sort of pushing their way to the front of the queue, if you think about it in that way. Gemini for you rules your 6th house, which is the house of your daily rituals and your everyday tasks, your work, and your health as well, your health and body. So Mars is going to be in that house for the next 7 months. Mars usually moves quite quickly, dashes around the zodiac, but because there's a period of retrograde happening in there, which means from our perspective, it looks as though Mars might be traveling backwards and then forwards again. We know it's because of the orbits and the synchronicity or the syncopation of those orbits. But from our perspective, it looks as though Mars is going backwards. And in those times of retrograde, it's always a great time to reassess and to go over what it is that's coming up. For a Mars and their fire energy to be in your 6th house, your daily rhythms, your daily life, your work, there is going to be some activation there. There's going to be some passion that you may have to work with or temper or encourage. Perhaps there's something about the way that your life has been rolling around and going, you've found your rhythm, you've found your flow, but perhaps Mars is here to ignite a change. And it could have something to do with this lunation, with this 9th house activation. Is there something between or betwixt or around religious ideology or philosophical ideology that you'd like to incorporate into your daily rhythms? Or perhaps there's a jarring point there. Perhaps there's a mismatch where one can't work with the other. The tarot cards are the 8 of Pentacles for the moon. So that's 4 degrees of Virgo. And look at that. That energy is all about commitment. It's all about diligence, isn't it? It's about sticking to task and moving forward. So in this way, I see this as study. I wonder if you're learning something new, Capricorn, that you're taking from the textbook or taking from the lessons, however it is that you learn. It doesn't have to be the written word, it can be from listening as well, can't it? But there's something that's making sense to you, and there's something that you want to activate at this new moon and bring forward into your life and expand and move towards. Maybe maybe traveling, maybe you're taking a trip. The point of 4 degrees in Gemini is represented by the 8 of Swords. So think about this sort of this ignition in the 6th. Think about this ignition, this fire that is going to start in your daily rhythms, in your everyday processes, your work schedule. What needs to change and what are you bringing out and what are you wanting to move forward with? Probably is a really good way to describe Mars energy. It's always about moving forward, about activation. So the 8 of Swords to me sort of talks about maybe the anxiety that might be attached to starting something or starting a change that's so vast or so in contrast to the rhythms that you have already. I think that this new moon will be a great support for you with any potential anxiety. Remember, Mars does move quickly. Mars will be coming back and retrograding over this 8 of Swords point soon enough, over the next 7 months. Don't you worry. So it's sort of there's going to be some realizations here. There's going to be some real want and desire and passion to move forward and to shift those daily rhythms. And it could be as far as your health as well. It could be sort of something to do with your physical vessel and what it needs, and sort of an activation to start a new rhythm, a new routine in some way. There's always anxiety when we begin something, right? That's fine. That's all right. That's the astrology, Cap. I want to pull you some intuitive tarot as well. So I need 3 cards, please, Spirit, for Capricorn and Capricorn rising. What can you tell them in this new moon in Virgo? What messages can we give to them to set them off and to make those wishes? We got the 6 of Pentacles. We've got the 4 of Cups. And I got the 9 of Swords. These are all familiar energies, Capricorn. And we've been working with the 6 of Pentacles and the 4 of Cups for some time now, haven't we? There's something here that I wish for you at this new moon to give yourself a little peace and a little break from the potential anxiety. So if we think about Mars in Gemini, let's work with this, because this is the next card that comes after the 8 is the 9. And this is anguish. This is losing sleep over something. This is a real worry. And the best way that I can see, and we also can't avoid this as well. This is, it's a necessary part of life. The trick is not to stay in it for too long. And so with that Mars energy going back and forth, we want to make sure that we're agile and diligent enough to work with that and to roll with the punches, and to not feel ashamed of the anxiety or not feel ashamed of the thought processes. But there's a reminder here for, there's a reminder here for some sort of self-regulation. You might not be in the position to take on any extra emotional labor. If that makes any sense, you've got 3 cups here, 3 emotional investments. A 4th at this time might not be the wisest thing to do. It might be overloading your system too much, particularly if we think about the daily rhythms being looked at and being reimagined and reinvigorated. Then that's probably somewhere to focus. Maybe this sort of air energy is what we really need to keep a handle on. And not a handle on as far as putting a lid on it and shutting up. No. It's about working with it and rolling with those punches and working with the energy and working with the cycles. So as far as an emotional offer, an emotional investment, the next one, it might, at this time, might not be the right moment for you to take on too much. Because obviously, this is your Pentacles energy. This is you, Capricorn, this earthbound generousness. You know, you're so generous. And think about sixth house. So you're generous, giving with what it is that you generate and accrue in that workspace, in that daily rhythm. You're in that flow with wanting to give and to, and hopefully to receive back. And maybe there's something here about the idea of this flow being one-sided. That could be something really to think about too, now that I look at it. There might be something here that you're giving out too much and it's not being returned, it's not being given back to you, or it's not finding its way back to you in that flow. And so think about your output, and perhaps this 4 of Cups is maybe thinking about being selective rather than shutting yourself off, because we don't want you to feel bound by your position. That's not the point of the exercise here, but it might be just a review of who's receiving from your generosity and who is receiving and giving back and who is receiving and just taking, because this is where this anxiety can start to build, and these feelings, these thoughts can, if they turn into shame, if you're feeling ashamed for feeling like you deserve something, anything, a crumb, then that's the problem. That's what we need to move from. So yeah, let's use Mars. Let's use the energy of Mars over the next 7 months, Capricorn, to reinvigorate your responsibilities, your work, your everyday tasks. And let's use Mars to reignite some passion there and some self-respect as to who has access to that and who doesn't. That's the reading, I reckon. That's beautiful. All right, Capricorn, the sand's all gone. I'm going to leave it there. I love you very much. As always, head over to umaruby.com. There is a lot of fun things happening over there, and you can book your birth chart if you'd like to get that read. Also, send me a message if you're wanting to explore tarot in a deeper way. It'd be great to get your opinion as to what you might like to learn and what it is that I might be able to help you with as we go on. I'll be speaking to you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Pisces, Capricorn. So until then, take care. I love you very much. Bye.